Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by today. If you're brand new here, welcome. My name is Clarissa and I like to share my thoughts, my tips, my tricks about different aspects of my journey. I am a part-time reseller. I work a full-time gig. Today's video is going to be about goals and expectations, a little bit about the difference between each of them. Are there pros and cons on each side? What does that mean? Should they work together? Is one better than the other? And just kind of share my thoughts on that. So if you're interested in this video, definitely stick around and let's get started. Of course, I have to throw it in there that this is always just 100% my opinion. I've done a little bit of research to better understand as I was recently doing annual evaluations in my full-time job, but also just looking forward into the year in my business and how I operate just on my day-to-day in my family dynamic, but also how I operate my business from a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, and looking kind of at the year as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I have done a little bit of research, but really I am just sharing my bottom line opinions with you. So the classic definition of goal setting is it just boils down to the process of identifying something that you want to accomplish and establishing measurable objectives and timeframes to help you achieve that. So the three components to your goals are it being measurable, that it being achievable, and that you have a time frame in place. So I thought that it was great to just kind of break that down when it came down to the components of what a goal is. But I also came across quite frequently that it was important to put goals in writing. And although that could be controversial, right? Everyone could feel a little bit differently about that. But I liked that idea. And the reason why I appreciated the idea and I will hold true to that is because thinking about something or even speaking about something is one element. But when you put it in writing, it's like creating a sense of commitment, especially if you put that in a place that you can see it regularly, because it's just like creating an accountability for yourself on that goal that was set in place so that you can continue to put the effort into achieving that particular goal. And then that takes me into the factors of goals in general really do go to these underlining factors of putting in the time, putting in the effort, and putting in the work. So what are the benefits of having goals in the first place, right? What are the pros of this? Having good goals or having, well, I don't know about good goals, but having goals in place help create greater direction, greater focus, increased productivity. It can provide clarity. It can give you motivation and inspiration to achieve that goal. But it also will create a sense of accountability. So what are some cons for goals? There are actually a couple of cons that came to mind as I was working on this, because goals can always be a good thing, but it's really how you view it, right? So if you're setting goals that aren't achievable, then that can be a con, because it can actually stop you from wanting to achieve, like wanting to create any more goals and then even striving to achieve maybe ones that you have in place. The other con that came to mind when I was thinking about goals were when you're setting short-term and long-term, they're really different, right? Long-term is over the course of the next year, 5 years, 10 years. It can be very big picture, and there are a lot of steps that will need to be taken to be able to achieve that long-term goal, which in turn can be exhausting. It can feel defeating, and at the end of the day can actually be quite overwhelming, which could be a con. So short-term goals and time frames being placed are going to be more effective and beneficial so that you can have those wins along the way while you're trying to reach those bigger goals. So they're not bad at the end of the day. It's just how you view it and actually giving yourself that realistic time frame to be able to achieve that. The second con that came to mind, so there weren't many, but the second con that came to mind was that not all goals are achievable, right? So it could just be a set of uncontrollable circumstances. It could be that the goal was maybe a little too ambitious and it just didn't work. So it could be that you had too many goals in place, and so you weren't able to achieve all of them, but even some of them, you're still winning. Okay, so now going into expectations. What are expectations? They basically are the belief of how something needs to be or should be. It's a basic guideline. The pros or the benefits of having expectations can provide simple habits that need to be followed by yourself or by everyone involved. It can create a healthy, positive work environment that folks can thrive in. It's a professional code of conduct. It establishes boundaries, creates that room for accountability, and it also helps identify strengths and weaknesses, whether within yourself, within a business, or within an organization or your team members. Some examples of these expectations can be just genuine respect for yourself, for one another, for the work that's being done or accomplished. Having honesty and integrity are some expectations to have in place. Representing your business or your organization with professionalism and in a responsible manner. Looking at some cons or disadvantages of expectations, maybe that they're just simply unrealistic for a business or for an organization, for yourself. But there can be some real negative impacts for that because it can cause overall frustration, disappointment, stress, anger, sadness, anxieties that are absolutely unnecessary, even some sense of resentment and discouragement that could negatively impact the overall growth or vision that you have in place for your business or for an organization. So having an understanding of what goals are, the pros, the benefits, the disadvantages of goals, and then looking at what expectations are and the advantages and disadvantages of them. And is one better than the other? In my opinion, no. But how you work each of those concepts is extremely important on being effective and efficient within any type of business or organization. So here was my big picture scheme of things, right? So like my overall view was expectations are the playing field, right? So when you think of sports and you have a particular sport, there are general rules that everyone is to follow. Those are expectations. But the goals are how you play the game, right? So you can be different, a different player than the next person, but you're still working together and following the same expectations. All this talk about goals and expectations, and I thought bringing it full circle with my own expectations and my own goals within my business would be maybe serve as a great example to just kind of tie it in all together. So for my expectations for myself, my business are really simple, but extremely important and stand firm to my all day, every day. Rules don't change. This is the playing field for sure. These rules do not bend. Number one is professionalism. Always conduct with professionalism on how I'm presenting my merchandise, how I'm interacting with my customers, and how I'm conducting the business altogether. That always has to stay professional no matter what. Now, of course, we have those days that we're just thinking certain things, feeling certain ways, but I will not allow myself to be unprofessional in any way, shape, or form, because feelings change, emotions change, and the path of a day changes. But way you're presenting your business, I never want to leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. And that goes from start to finish. Same thing with providing material here or content on YouTube. I always want it to be professional. I'm going to be myself, but keeping it professional is important to me. So that's an expectation. Number two is honesty. Honesty, again, this ties in a lot of different aspects when I'm looking at honesty, because for me, it is about, there's integrity tied in that. But my big, broad aspect is honesty. And with that, that is how I present my business, how I present my content, and how I present my merchandise that I'm selling. I always want to be 100% transparent with every item, no matter the value of what I'm selling it for, that anything, like the pictures are clear, the information about it is clear, any potential flaws are viewable in pictures, and it's all very transparent. And that's just about being forthcoming and honest so that the customer receives exactly what they're expecting to receive. It does kind of fall into that professionalism as well, but being honest is extremely important. And that's on the business side and presenting all of that. But then I also hold an expectation to be honest with myself. There's no good in being in this dishonest bubble with yourself of where you're really at in the process, where you're really at on a given day. So being honest with myself on where I'm at with things and what I'm able to do or not do, accomplish, those are, or even change my goals, right? If there's a goal and I'm hitting that deadline and I'm not going to hit it, I'm going to be honest with myself that that's okay and that we need to make some adjustments. So with my expectations, those are the two overhead expectations, and there are so many things that kind of fall to align with those main concepts. Right, so goals. I have a few different goals, but I also keep it very simple when it comes to the business. Again, they do need to be adjusted on a regular basis. I create them daily, usually, but I kind of break my daily goal down on my weekly goal. And I try to touch base on that weekly just so that I'm staying in tune and staying honest with myself of where I'm really at. So my general weekly goal is to list 10 items in the week. So that breaks down to just slightly over one item a day at the very worst. If I can do more than that, then wonderful. But at least if I'm getting something out there daily, that's important. My second goal, it's kind of an expectation. It falls in this line of professionalism, but shipping. I don't wait to ship. Try to ship the very next business day to try to get the item to the customer as fast as possible, because again, I'm conducting a business that I want to be viewed as professional. And I mean, other than personal life and general 9-to-5 work goals, those are really different. But when it comes to Unlimited Gear, those are my expectations that I do not stray from. And then my goals, I adjust regularly. So one of my recent adjustments was I had a February listing challenge, so this is perfect timing to get this up. And I didn't set a cold cut number, and I probably should have, but my goal was to list 10 items every single week. And I have had several days where I was able to get 10 items up in each day. So that was a complete success in one end, but then there were a couple of days that I was just like, ooh, I didn't get nothing up. But that was just being honest with myself of where I was at. I was completely burnt out, and it was time to just get that R&R in and recap. So that's just a little bit of real life on my end with the business aspect and where I am at with goals and expectations and how they kind of come together so that I can continue to grow this business to where I would like to see it in the long term. And if you'd like to hear about long-term goals, let me know and I'll make a video giving you a list of the 10-year plan. If you had any thoughts about what I was sharing in this video, or even just general thoughts about goals and expectations, definitely don't hesitate to leave them down in the comments below. I love to hear what you all are thinking. If you enjoyed this content, I hope you give this video a thumbs up. If you like content like this or any of the other stuff that I could or any of the other chaos of content that I bring to the table, there's never a rhyme or reason. Of course, I am a full-time, I have a full-time job, and then I'm a part-time reseller. I like sharing all different aspects of the business. So you never know what kind of content is coming next. And so definitely give us a follow if you're interested in being alerted when new content or new videos pop up. And I appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much. And until next time.